Hello friends, welcome back to Idiot's Guide. On this week's edition, we are going to look at support and resistance. First, we will identify what is support and resistance, how to draw or identify the correct area of support and resistance in any chart, what are the common mistakes people do when they use support and resistance for trading, how to prevent whipsaws and false breakout while using support and resistance for trading purpose, how we can increase our winning rate or success rate while using support and resistance for trading, how to increase our risk to reward ratio while using support and resistance. Having said that, let's jump into the lesson. First of all, please don't skip this video. You watch this video from start to finish because throughout the video I'll be pointing out different areas where we need to focus on. So I would strongly recommend you watch the video from start to finish to understand the concept. Okay, let's jump into the lessons. Okay, what we have in front of us is again Apple daily time frame chart as of today. When you have to identify area of support or resistance, the first rule to keep in mind is support and resistance are not single line. They are a particular area which is marked as support or resistance. For example, I'm going to mark the support and resistance area in this daily Apple chart. The first point would be the recent high from where the price has turned around, and next I'd be drawing one more line to identify the area. If you notice it here, I am not marking a single line. Not the first line is not the support and resistance, rather this area in between will be considered as support and resistance, to be precise. So now this is the recent resistance. Now let's draw one of the major support. If you look at this chart, on March 23rd of this year, Apple made a recent low. So you connect that low across to the left. Okay, if you scroll down, you can see that it's touching several points. This is a very valid support. Again, support or resistance, they are not area, not individual line. So what you will do, you will add one more line to convey the point that support and resistance are this area. So you can consider this area as a resistance till here. Here it becomes support when the price breaks out. This area is considered as a resistance till here. Once the price breaks out here, it becomes a support. As you can notice, when the price returned back from the resistance, it really bounced back from this area. Again, notice the word area, not the line. So this whole area will be considered as a support or resistance. Okay. Now, next step on this video is what are the common mistakes people make while identifying support and resistance and trading with that. The common mistakes what people do is they try to draw a single line to highlight the support or resistance instead of marking the area. That's a very first mistake one has to avoid. The second mistake what people do is they try to enter into a trade or jump the gun as soon as price breaks the support line they have drawn. But if you mark an area of this kind, after the price breaks out, I would personally wait for the next day to confirm the breakout, either up or down. So in this example, if you notice, a novice trader could be entering here, which is okay in this specific case because next day the price did not break through the support area. But there are several instances where when you have a single line, the price does break through. So let me zoom in and show you what I mean. So you see the price here. On the day of June 5th, 2020, the price closed at, Apple's price closed at $331.50. The next day, The low is $330. So if it had gotten on this day's close at 331.50, and if you had your stop loss order just below the price of the support line, assuming you have drawn a line of 328.04 as a support line, next day when the price hits a low of 327.32, you would have been stopped out, and you would have had a whipsaw, and you would have taken a small loss of $3 for your trade. Depends upon your position size, it could be small or big. That is one of the primary mistakes traders do when they use support and resistance. Rather, use this area. So when you mark an area, if you notice the price breaks above, let's say you entered the trade on the same day, let's take the same scenario, you enter the trade on June 5th 2020 at the close at $331.50. But if you mark this area as a support, you would have put your stop loss below the second line. Again, there are several ways to identify the stop loss. Personally, I'd be using one ATR or two ATRs below this area. So if it is a price of 321.53, I will find out what is a 1 ATR below that, and I would have marked the price there as a stop loss. It would come somewhere here. I'll explain more about stop loss, profit taking in a separate video. But just to give you an idea, the price stop loss would be way below the second line, which is part of the support. So the price never hit that, you would have stayed in this trade. To illustrate the point across, let's look at the another area where it acted as a major support on March 23rd of this year. If you notice in this chart, between September and October of 2019, price has bounced off this support area, or I would say rather resistance area, when the price came up to that. Then finally it broke above on this day. Can you see that? That was on a day of September 30th 2019. Again, if you jump the gun, if you got into the trade after one day, 2 days later on October 2nd, the price dropped below the support line, you would have been stopped out and you would have taken a loss. And the next day it even went further down. So even if you had a stop loss just below the line, maybe $1 or $2, you would have been stopped out. So again, it proves a point here. Support and resistance should not be line, it should be the area where prices are consolidating with a very tight range. So in this case, you can clearly say that this is a range. So if you mark it as a range, and if you had a ATR, one ATR below the second line, let's somewhere it would be here, as a stop loss, you would have never get stopped out, and you would have stayed in this trade all along. And even when the March 23rd low hit, you would have stayed in the trade. So let's say somebody bought on this day, same example, you bought at 223. Even when at March 23rd price came down to 224, you are still safe because your stop losses would have been somewhere around 209 if you take one ATR, because Apple's ATR is normally like $12 or $13. So if you take that, it would have been like 209 or 208. So even at this low on March 23rd, you are not taken out of the trade. So it has stayed all the way till today. Today, the Apple's current price is at $465.70. And you would have stayed in the trade for a long time to make a good profit. So it is very important to mark support resistance as an area, not as a line. The support and resistance need not be always a horizontal line or area. There are at times people use moving averages as support and resistance. Sometimes people use a simple moving average as a entry and exit point and as a support and resistance for any market. So let me add a moving average here. I'm adding a simple moving average to the Apple chart. I just added the 50-day moving average or 50 period moving average. Now I'm adding 11 period moving average. Okay, so someone who wants to quickly get in and get out of any trade could use a 10-day or 11-day moving average, which is this white line which you can see on the chart. And someone who wants to be a swing trader or a short-term trader instead of a day trader could probably use a 50 period moving average. There is no specific rule as to whether you should use 11 or 50 or one versus other. It's all about personal preferences and as to what kind of trader you are or investor you are. So let's take an example of a 11 period moving average to start with. So if you look at this chart, this is a daily chart. Let me switch to an hourly chart. Okay, if you look at this white line, which is 11 period moving average, there are at times people try to trade after the price drops below this moving average, go short, and when the price comes above, like here, they go long. This is on hourly chart. If you look at the daily chart, for example, same rule applies. You try to go short when the price falls below the moving average line, in this case 11 period moving average on February 21st, 2020. You go short, you stay in your short position until the price crosses above that moving average. So you would have probably got out in here. So you would have shorted here at 313, you would have got out at 245. There are advantages and disadvantages to moving average. Moving average support resistance line normally efficient and helpful only on trending market. On a sideways market, you will get plenty of whipsaws and you'll be losing on most of the trades. Personally, I don't use moving averages for support and resistance. I always try to draw horizontal lines connecting the recent peaks and troughs to identify the area of support and resistance. But there is nothing wrong if somebody wants to use moving average. This is the dynamic support and resistance. Now if you look at the 50 period moving average, coming back to the 50 period moving average for a swing trader, if you're a really swing trader, not a short-term trader, if you use a 50 period moving average, let me zoom out here, you would have probably entered in this trade on June 2019 at 198 and you would have got out right here. Notice here, you got in at 198, the price went all the way up to 213, but you got out while the price dropped below the moving average as 193. So you stayed for about few months and you lost 5 points if you use a 50 period moving average alone. There is another strategy people use. They enter the trade when the shorter term moving average crosses over the longer term moving average. Again, this is about different strategies for getting into trade, which we can cover in a separate video. The concept of this video or the purpose of this video is all about support and resistance. So we will stick to that. So let's look at the long-term period, 50 period moving average. One could have gone long on August 7, 2019 at 199 and at the 50 period moving average and came out on February 24th at 298. That's one way of trading. If you don't have much time in your hand on a daily basis to monitor the chart, you could probably, if you're really a little long-term trader or a swing trader, you could probably use a 50 period moving average or any other moving average you're comfortable with, any other period, and plot it out and use it for entry and exit and maintain that. And if you notice it, the moment the price crossed below the 50 period, it accelerated down pretty fast. Then once it crossed above the 50 period moving average here after the yellow line, it stabilized. It never came below. So let me remove this temporary moving average to make it clearly visible. As it dropped here, it accelerated down completely. Then as it crossed up here above the 50 period moving average, the yellow line, it never dropped below that. So if somebody got in at 282 on April 24th, they would have stayed all the way till today on Apple till 468. Okay, the next section is support and resistance is a good area for stop loss. Personally, support and resistance is not the correct area. I would say that's the worst place to put the stop loss. The reason is if you use the support or resistance area as the stop loss, you would get stopped out several times whenever the market maker tries to fluctuate the price to create liquidity in the market. To illustrate the point, let me explain what could happen and how to prevent it. These are the two support resistance areas we have marked in the Apple's chart right here. If you put your stop loss anywhere in this in between in this area, you would have got stopped out when the price comes to that area. So how do you prevent it? You draw something called average true range. Let's say you add an indicator called average true range to the chart. That's basically the daily movement, average daily movement of the stock price. So let's say you take this example here or this example. Let's start with this. If you want to put a stop loss, if you are planning to go short in this area, what you would do, let's say you are in one of these days. You look at the average true range. If you look at it, it says $5.86. So what you would do, you would put your stop loss $5.86 above the top of the support or resistance area. In this case, the resistance area. So your stop loss would have been, let me draw a horizontal line to give you an explanation. $5.86 above 329.76. So that would be approximately 335 change. Let's say 335.80. Let me change the color to red to make it visible. Okay. Now if it had gone short in this area, anywhere in this area, if your stop loss is here, you can notice when the price is fluctuating in that range, it never touched that ATR, 1 ATR above the range, 1 ATR above the support resistance area. So that could be a good stop loss to prevent any whipsaws and prevent any market maker from stopping you out. In the same way, if you consider this area, if you are going for long in this area, anywhere in this area, let's say you went long on this day, on June 5th, 2020. The next day, the price dropped to as low as 327. You could have stopped out if you had a support resistance area as your stop loss. So what you would do? Again, the same process. You calculate 1 ATR. You draw a horizontal line 1 ATR below the support resistance area. So the support resistance area low was 323 and the ATR on the day is, if you find out, it's around $6. So you would subtract $6 from 323, so that would be like 317 change. That would be your stop loss. So when you enter on this day, on June 5th, let me close this. Yeah, when you enter on June 5th, on June 6th, even though the price dropped the next day, price did not go as low as 317. It went only up to 327.32. So you were not stopped out. And you have been staying in the trade for a long time to see a good profit. So to summarize, the support resistance area should not be used as a stop loss. Rather, you should use 1 ATR or 2 ATR based on the volatility of the stock or market you trade in. For example, if you use Tesla, you could use 2 ATR as a stop loss. If you trade on Apple stock, you could use 1 ATR for stop loss. Based on the volatility of the stock or market you trade in, you decide either you choose between 1 ATR or 2 ATR. For Apple, 1 ATR is good enough. I hope that clarifies the confusion with support resistance and stop loss. The last point is, how do we increase our risk to reward ratio using support resistance? Let me remove the stop loss lines I have drawn. Okay. These are the two areas I marked for support resistance in Apple's daily chart. Normally what people do when the price breaks above, right, you could have gone long here the next day, and let's say you missed it, a novice investor would be chasing the stock. Let's say for some reason you didn't set your alert, and after 2 days you come to know, you find out that Apple has broken out of your resistance, and let's say you are right here. What you would do, a novice investor will immediately buy the stock thinking that, well, it broke the resistance, so I'm good, let me buy right now and ride the wave. Guess what? Next 3 days, from June 11th, June 12th, June 13th, price dropped. You bought it at the close of June 10th at 352. 3 days later, the low on the day is 332. You would have lost $20. So how do we avoid that? The best strategy to increase risk to reward ratio and to get a long-term success when you use support resistance for trading, I would strongly recommend wait for a pullback. What we see in these 3 days from February 11th to 13th is 11th to 15th, not February, sorry, June 11th to June 15th is considered called the pullback. So when the price broke above the support, you wait for the price to come back and retest the support. In this case, it never retested, but it came close to that. Instead of chasing it at 352, instead of getting in at 331, you could have waited for a price to come close to the range, like normally 3 to 5% from the top of the support area. That's a good price to enter, because it doesn't mean that the market will come back and retest the resistance every time, but rather it will come close to that area within 3 to 5% range of the price. So if you wait for a price to come close to 331 to 3 to 5% close to that, and if you, when the price hits that area, like here, the low was 332, which is few percentage away from 331, exactly $1 away, which is not even 1%, 0.5%. Normally, if you wait for 3 to 5% area range is not bad. A stock like Apple, which moves steadily, not highly volatile like Tesla, you could even get away with 1% range because it's not highly volatile. You wait for a price to come close to that resistance area in this case and get in. And if you chase, what happens is, let's say you chase this Apple stock and you got in this day at 352, and you put the stop loss 1 ATR below the bottom area of the support or resistance in this case. The stop loss is, I told you, $6.22 for the ATR. So if you calculate $6 from 321, it's going to be around 315, like it will be somewhere in this area. 315 to 352, your stop loss is $37, which is 10% price move. And if a stop loss gets hit, it would be a huge loss. I don't know how big of a position you take, irrespective of what size of positions you take, it'll be a big loss if you have this kind of wide stop loss. Let me draw the line and show you what I mean by that. This is your entry, let's say. And let's draw your stop loss. This is your stop loss of approximately $6.22, approximate. So between this green and red line, see how big of a stop loss you have. But if you waited for a pullback or retest of the support, you would have entered somewhere around this area in this day, 3 days later. There would be 335 to 315, only 20 points. Not 352 to 315, something like 38 points. Smaller the risk, the reward would be much higher. In long term, you always benefit if you try to minimize your stop loss area. So instead of keeping the stop loss this big between this green and red, you try to wait for a pullback and enter somewhere here, and you will be getting a very small, very tight stop loss, which is only like 16 points instead of 38 points. So even if you lose out, let's say hypothetically in this trade you lost 16 points rather than 38 points. So you could afford to lose 2 trades rather than losing 38 in one trade. So even if you have a success ratio, let's say your risk to reward ratio is always 2 to 1, or let's say 3 to 1. So out of 3 trades, if you make one winning trade, you make 3x or 3 times the money, and other 2 trades, if you lose 1x, in this case like 15, let's say 16, 32 points, and the third one you will make 3 times 32, 90 points. So 90 minus 32, you still come out ahead. In the long run, you'll be profitable. I hope that clarifies how to increase your risk to reward ratio, reduce your stop loss as far as using support, resistance and ATR as a stop loss. Okay, now let's remove the stop losses I have added. Okay, now we are back to support resistance. Now few things I want you guys to understand. When to use support resistance for breakout and breakdown. In this Apple's daily chart, if you pay close attention, when the price touches resistance several times in this area, right? Finally, the price breaks down below the resistance, it accelerates faster. If you remember, there's a saying, the more time a support resistance line is tested, that is stronger, which is completely wrong. If you notice here, the more time the resistance is tested here, eventually the resistance line holds up and price comes down, falls down. So it tend to be stronger in this case. But if you look at the same support resistance area moving along in this chart, in between May and June of this year, the price tried to break the resistance several times, basically touched several times, and this is the uptrend, so the price broke out. This is a downtrend, the price could not break the resistance. So the same resistance, when the price tested it during an uptrend, the price broke above the resistance and had a rally. So the truth is, in a downtrend, supports break, in an uptrend, resistance break. To give an example of how a support will break in a downtrend, let me show you another support and resistance in this chart. Let me drive the point across. Now price broke above, traded above here, it came down here on, let me zoom in a little bit to make it clear. Okay, on January 27th, the price touched the support area, then bounced back. After a few days, it came back and touched the support, then bounced back, then stayed above the support. And this is, we were all thinking everything is fine on February 21st, 2020. Market is on the upturn. Every stock was running up, going up, and Apple was not an exception either. And when the market broke through on February 24th, Apple broke down the support area. Now that became a resistance. See how quickly it accelerated. So in a downtrend, in a downtrend, supports breaks after several times. So it makes a support weaker in a downtrend. In an uptrend, a resistance become weaker. On this example which we have talked about here. See, this area is a strong resistance. This was an uptrend. Apple tried several times. The buyers tried to push the Apple's price above this area. They tried for several days. Finally, it broke out and it had a huge rally. So the key thing to remember is a support resistance area. Support resistance is an area, not a line, number one. Number two, resistance tend to break on an uptrend. Support tends to break on a downtrend. Okay, last but not least, how to identify when a support or resistance is bound to break up or break down. Let's take the same support resistance area, same Apple chart. Can you see the price has tried to break this area several times in the past and failed, came down. After a few months it came back and tried again, failed, came down. Then there is a build-up of about 10-15 days trying to enter this area and break above. This is a clear indication. This is called consolidation or build-up, however you want to name it. A tight range of price with small candles, consecutive small candles of tight price range near the support or resistance area is an indication the price is going to break, but that is not a confirmation. What you should do, you should wait for the price to either cross above the resistance area or fall below the resistance area or bounce back of the support area. You don't get into any trade when the price is near the support or resistance. Rather, you wait for the price to break above or break down or respect the price. That's all there to it as far as support and resistance is concerned. Thanks for watching our video about support and resistance. Once again, I would like to request you to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you like this video and if you feel this video is of any use to you. It takes a lot of effort for us to put together a video of this kind. It will be really helpful and it will be highly appreciated if you could subscribe to our channel and like this video if you like this content. Feel free to comment and ask any questions, or if you have any questions or if you have comments, please feel free to share your feedback on this video. Thank you friends, and have a great rest of the day.